Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Verified Build 002. We're excited to introduce you to our next property and renovation project. As you can see, this is a 3-bedroom semi-detached house, a little bit different to the first property that we worked on. We'll get onto the differences in just a moment, but for now, let's take a look inside and see what we're working with. So we're starting off in the kitchen. It's quite a narrow space, and as you'll see throughout this property, it's in a bit of a distressed state, shall we say. That is because the previous owner was doing a lot of the renovations themselves. They decided not to complete the project, so they sold it, and that's where we came in. So you'll see around this place, there's things like exposed walls, cables, wireworks, and everything like that. So a bit of a project on our hands, which we're looking forward to getting stuck into. This is a makeshift kitchen against a very tight wall. What we're gonna do, which is gonna be very exciting, is we're basically, as you can see this wall to my right, it's gonna be completely knocked down, knocked through, opened up to a beautiful kitchen diner space. If we just come round here, you'll just see what we're working with. So as you can tell, there's a lot of space to work with. So you can imagine when that wall is knocked through there's this great space. Not sure on the exact layout yet, but I think the kitchen's probably gonna go around this side, maybe some counter spaces here. But you can see there was like an old fireplace and everything like that. It all got ripped out. When we got here, there was just a bunch of materials and things like that from the previous owner that was obviously gonna work on this. That's all gone. Yeah, I'm super excited to see when this is knocked through. This is gonna make for a great space. Of course, we can't just go knocking through walls and expect the house to remain up. We have got a structural engineer come in. They checked out the property. They told us what was possible. My understanding is they're gonna fill the foundations with some concrete, make this nice and solid. They're gonna come in and they're gonna basically put a T-structure for some steel beams. We'll capture that content. We'll speak to the structural engineer about that, get some insights into the considerations for when you're looking to knock something through like this. But yeah, this is gonna really open this space up. And I think, again, one of the exciting things about this property compared to the previous one, the cottage house combo that we renovated initially was a beautiful canvas to work with, large scoped project. This is much more relatable, I would say, to a lot of people's own homes. It's very similar to my house. You know, 3-bedroom semi is quite a common property in the UK. So I think throughout this is going to be a lot of tips, tricks, insights, information for you guys to take away and apply in your own spaces. Interestingly enough, with this property as well, there was actually a wall here and there was an extension to this property. So if we take a look at this side, where this wall is and this steel beam would have been the initial living room, so a much smaller space. Previous owner added an extension. They added patio doors, a bit of a roof with some roof windows. So the space is a lot bigger, but it has an interesting flow currently with the narrow kitchen to the living room, which we'll go and take a look at now. So before we go into the living room, just check the electrics and the gas situation. You'll probably see a lot of storage heaters in this property. So no gas, we're gonna get a boiler installed, full heating system, a full house rewire, new fuse boards, everything like that is gonna be installed. And then here's your living room, typical living room. We've got interestingly got a fireplace here. Probably nothing too exciting behind this wall or that insulation hole. What's he hiding? But again, you can see a storage heater on that wall. I bet this property was probably quite chilly because the thing with electric heaters like this is kicks out a lot of heat. But I know from personal experience when we've lost heating and used storage heaters, it keeps the room hot while you're in it, while it's on. And as soon as you turn it off, ice cold. Really excited to get an actual heating system in here. Yeah, just make this a nice cozy house. We're gonna keep this door as it is because the kitchen's gonna be the other side. But remember, we are opening that space up to make it a beautiful kitchen diner. Well, let's move upstairs. Just before we go upstairs, again, I'm not an electrician. There will be professionals on the videos that will be talking about all this. But one thing I noticed, this whole property is basically mid-renovation because the previous owner was living in it and doing it along the way. There's a lot of things you'll see right now where there's just like sockets and switches and things, interesting places with exposed cable. There's definitely a right way to be doing these things, so we'll be giving you tips and advice on that from professionals, because when you're playing with electrics and gas, just from the people that I know and have spoken to, there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to do things. So make sure you subscribe if you want to know how to stay safe in your own property. So I believe this is the master bedroom. You probably can't tell right now, but there's a missing, I'm going to say doorway. What we're going to do is we're going to get this boxed off, so this is actually a closed room. There's a door here. You can even see, look how tiny this storage heater would have been for this room. This is a fairly decent sized room with a tiny storage heater like that. Must have been pretty chilly. But yeah, not much more to say about this either. I think one of the things that is exciting, unlike with the previous property that we renovated, there was a lot of surprises, let's say, such as the roof that was an additional £20,000 that we didn't account for. This is a more modern property in comparison, less structural things. I know we're not going to wall through, but that is something that we've decided rather than found out. This is exciting in the sense that this is going to feel like a facelift. You know, we're going to freshen up the walls, the floors, and things like that. It's a lot more familiar to a lot of people in a lot of people's homes, you know, people that have been in even a fairly modern house that's maybe 5 or 10 years old. There's definitely going to be things in this series that you can take away and apply to your own space, whether it's brightening up an area, opening up space, improving the bathroom, you know, adding a bit of value. Let's move on. Let's move to another room. This is bedroom number 2. Again, the previous owner, I'm not going to try and get into their mindset, but there was obviously a theme that's going on here. This is nice wooden wall, but behind here, this isn't just a rustic wooden feature. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes. There's actually built-in storage space, which I actually think is pretty clever, to be honest with you. There's a fireplace, so this bit's shallow, but there's wardrobe space to the left and to the right. His and hers, maybe? With a clothes rack. Unsure what we're going to do with this. I feel like this is a look and you've really got to commit to it. So I'd personally rip it out and get some nice wardrobes in. You tell me in the comments what you do with this. Because if we go over here, we have got another bit of cubby hole space. Maybe like a TV unit or something. Maybe if you put the bed next to that wall, wardrobe either side. There's a feature here as well, which I really like. There's a window, in-house window. No glass yet, but there's a crack inside, which if you wait here, I'll go there and let me see what you think to this view. Quite off sight, right? I don't know what the previous owner was into, but that's their prerogative. We may close that window off, maybe block it off, because at the moment it's just looking down over the stairs. And then we've got a nice, reasonably sized bathroom. Unsure 100% on what the plan is with the bathroom right now, but I actually think there's quite huge potential with this space. Again, probably speaking just from my own experience with my own home, when space is at a premium, it's about making it feel bigger than it actually is. You know, and again, another question for the audience, it'd be interesting to see what your thoughts are. Something to consider right now is we've got a bathroom shower situation here. Consideration is, do we just go for a shower, box that off, add a bit more space this way? Do we keep the bath in and the shower combo? Because if this is a, you know, a medium-sized family home, then maybe you've got some kids that want a bath. Comment below what you think should be done in this sort of space. What do you prefer? Are you a bath person or are you a shower person? Would you like to mix it up sometimes? Maybe at the weekend you want to put some suds in, get all sudsed up, get some bubbles on, get some... So this is the third bedroom, smallest of the 3 rooms. Right now it's a bit of a box room. We've got one window and that's it. This is actually an extension to the property. One consideration we were also thinking though is right now you've got the bathroom adjacent to this room. An option would be, you know, because of the one window situation, we could potentially convert this into a bathroom, move the bathroom over to this side, maybe we make a bit of a wet room. All up for debate right now, because once we've stripped it all out, it's kind of just a maneuvering of waste pipes and things like that. Underneath here is basically an exposed floor, so I guess when it comes to installation things, it probably makes it easier. We'll get the professionals in and ask them that question when we come to it, but alternatively we'll just keep this as a bedroom and, you know, freshen up the carpet, the paint, everything like that. So interestingly, in this room we've got like evidence of mold. Mold can happen for well, mold happens for a reason. It's because it's damp. This is probably a perfect example. We've got a storage heater here, which if you think about the heat that's just going to come out of this, unlike under a window, it's just going to hit the top and heat down. I think there might have even been a wardrobe or like a unit in the corner. It's just a damp spot, and then if you're not on top of it, you get a bit of mold and it just grows from there. Be interesting to know how you would prevent that. Again, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on these tips on how to avoid mold, condensation, and all that good stuff. One thing that I just want to put to the audience as well is, remember, this whole series is about inspiring and educating people on renovations, things they can do in their own spaces, whether it's a little cubby window above the stairs and why you might want to do that, or potential risks, to answering common questions from you guys. If you have any questions, put it in the comments and we'll speak to the professionals and get those questions answered for you. Let's head downstairs and out into the garden. So as you can see on the ground, I assume this was related to the extension that was added. There's a lot of work to do outside, which you'll see. So let's just have a look at the garden now. We've got a fire pit. Could make it a feature, could just fill it in. But we've got actually an interesting strip of concrete. Shed will move. There's actually a fresh rectangle of concrete at the back here, which potentially was maybe for a bit of a man cave, a shed, because it's a fresh piece that was done by the previous owner. Our plan is not to get rid of this. In fact, what we're probably going to do, fill this all in so it's an even level. We've got the concrete coming down here and we're just going to pave it. So there's a nice sort of paving patio area at this end of the garden. We'll get some artificial grass in the middle, so there's a nice little patch. And if we just look back at the house, it's quite high. I mean, I'm a tall person, but that's nearly knee height for me. So that's quite a drop right now coming out of the house. That was me dropping. Unsure what we might do, but simple thing could be some steps. But what might be nice is maybe a little bit of a raised decking. But I actually think, again, this is a reasonably sized outdoor space garden, so you can have a nice patio, get some rattan on there, get a barbie on. Yeah, I think this could be a really exciting space outside, because again, this is kind of like a good sized garden, but probably a more realistic size, whereas at the previous property, it was just vast. I think this can make for a really beautiful outside area. Just as we head out to the front again, just to talk about the driveway, we'll be replacing all the windows as well, freshening the whole thing up. So this place is really gonna get a complete facelift from start to finish. Let's just take a look out at the front, because there's an interesting consideration for this property, which we'll talk about when it comes to selling. But yeah, there's a few interesting quirks with this place. Great feature about this property is it will have its own parking space outside. There's a poppy field right now, but realistically you could probably squeeze 2 cars on here, maybe a third at a push. If you've got a smaller vehicle, we can get them down here, but there's actually a nice little outside space for a couple of vehicles, so that's perfect once we move all the poppies. So once we've cleared the poppy field, there's going to be a nice space outside. But one consideration, which is kind of out of our control, but potentially might impact a sale, you don't know, but it is something to consider when someone is buying the property, and that is the access. You can probably see all the way down there is the main road, and this is a car width. So you need the space, and if you've got 2 cars on here, you might not be able to do a full U-turn coming down, because you certainly can't do it at the end. It's just a consideration, and it's actually going to be an interesting one when it comes to getting the trade-in working on the property. I mean, step 1 will definitely be getting rid of that, right? So this is Verified Build 002, and we're really excited to start the renovation process and documenting that and sharing it with you guys. There was a lot of learnings from the first one. I mean, this thing still has a roof on, so that's one less thing to consider when we're thinking about budget. Speaking of budgets, this is a renovation with a budget, not on a budget. So we'll be sharing everything with you, from costs to considerations. We have a renovation budget of £45,000. We'll track the numbers. I'm going to put the price of this property on screen right now with the maths, because I am not a mathematician. This is the cost of the house. This is our total with a budget, and this is how much we expect to sell it for. So this is Verified Build 002. I'm super excited for the project to get started very soon. If you want to follow this journey, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss the next video coming very soon.